Oh boy, I feel like I'm forgetting something. You know when you feel like things are going too well. Like I must have forgotten something and I don't know what it is. And it probably I probably haven't, and it's just that feeling. Like what did I forget? I don't know. Probably honestly probably nothing. But like it's in here. Like, hey, are you forgetting something? I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. And but like it really feels like I have. So if we figure out what it is at some point during the course of stream, I'm gonna have to correct that, but I don't know what it is. I don't know. Anyways, hi everyone. Welcome in. What is up, gamers? Hi everybody. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Hello, hello. Is it tea? I have 2 cups of tea, Q2s. I was very, very prepared with that. Usually it's something like I forgot to run Viado tubes and my VTuber's not up or whatever. But no, that's all running. That's all running. So I have no idea what it could be. But here's my artwork. Hello. Lovely to see you. There I am. Yay. Hi, everybody. Anyways. Wait, what did I forget? Wait, what did I forget? I have 2 cups of tea. I have mint with lime, and I have apple and cinnamon, which was lightly stuck to the coaster, which tried to come with me. Anyways, your beauty. Oh, cute. You're too kind. Anyways, hello, friends. Welcome, Cranky. Hello, hello. Thank you for the hydrate, Q2s. I shall do that forthwith. This tea is the less warm of the 2, so I can have a big slug of it. I did also see that Q2's in the chat says, and I'm going to try and do my best with this, but bear with me. Something, something, something. Chat got away from me. I was trying to sing the song. You get the idea. If you know, you know. Anyways, Sha to you too. Welcome in, friends. Hello, hello. Dan, welcome in. What truly is a Silksong makes you think it's a song about silk? Anyways, hello, hello, hello. Slug a glug. Yep. Anyways, though I have to say, once again, I didn't put a message in chat, but please, no Silksong spoilers. Thank you for your understanding. Okay. Just to keep things as unspoilery as possible for the duration of the stream, because I'm still not that far into the game. But there is another song in the game that I've had stuck in my head for like a week and a half now. The Ushgaro, I lie. It's in there. It's in there, and it just lives there forever. Anywho, it's a song about doors. You've gotten that far, says Cranky. Okay, maybe it doesn't make you think for very long, says Dan. Listen, it's Monday, so my brain is not thinking today. Anyways, that's a song about maps, says Cranky. If you translate the lyrics, it's just the song Maps by the AAS. Which I have a tortured history with, because one time I had a friend who wanted to play Rock Band and they wanted me to do the singing bit, but it turns out that song is really hard to play on like whichever of the Rock Band video games it is. You know, the ones where you have like the guitar shaped peripheral and you have to push the buttons and like play the guitar. It was one of them, but it's one of the ones where you also have to sing, so I had to sing that song. I don't think I have the same vocal range or style as Karen O, so it didn't go super well for me, but also they just started over and over and over again, which for singing is real freaking annoying. And oh boy, did I get sick of that song. Anyways, yeah. I haven't listened to the Yeah since probably like 2010, and I think that might have something to do with it. I don't know. Anyways. Karen O and the kids or no kids? I don't think there were kids. I don't know. This was a very long time ago. This is a very long time ago, and I'm not very cool anymore. Anyways, You know, I wore a slightly warmer outfit today because it's been like cool and breezy and windy and rainy here, and as soon as I get into the studio, it's just like sweat city, and I'm so uncomfortably warm in my beautiful, nice, cozy waffle knit garment. Oh, by the way, now I know that colors read differently on camera to how they look in real life, and I don't know how to color correct for this because some colors look accurate and then some just don't. But this color, I want you to guess what color you think the shop I bought this from said that it was when I purchased it. And this is the color that I got. I want you to guess what you think the name of this color was. Like, in all seriousness, can you guess? Red, says Q2. Uh-huh. Yup. Indigo, says Chris. Do you want to know what it is? Do you want to know what color they said that this is? Do you want to actually know what color they said this is? Okay. Well, you know, maybe my sense of like the rainbow is just completely effed, but like this garment right here, which to be honest reads pretty accurately compared to the way that it looks IRL, I would say. The name of this color was pink. I know! I'm sorry. In what you, like, it's beige. It's not even a pink-ish beige. I would have accepted a dusty rose. This ain't pink, y'all. This is beige. It's like grayish. Looks gray-green at a push, says Moriax. Aw, oh, damn, also, hi, welcome in. It all goes back to beige. It's just, like, my skin tone is pink. Like, if you look at these two, that's pink. This ain't that. This ain't that. This is light, this is faded brown. What the nuts? Anyways, hello, Mimicry, welcome in. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you. When I purchased this garment, they said that the color was pink. And, like, I'm not being funny or anything, but this is not pink enough to warrant being called pink. It's beige. It's like a grayish beige. Maybe it's taupe adjacent, but it's not pink to me. This garment is in no way pink, says Mimicry. Yeah, exactly. Like, I will still wear it because it's comfy, but I won't wear it out at all because it's so unpink that it makes me look even pinker than I already am, and I'm a pretty pink individual to begin with. So yeah, that's a no from me on the what color is this, but it's a comfortable jumper to wear at home, so I'm still wearing it. I'm just grumpy about it because what the heck? No. No, absolutely not. Anyways, this is the color palette we're working with today. Yeah, you're pink as hell, says Cranky. If you've seen my face in any of my selfies, you know I am a living human strawberry. It's cotton, you could dye it. Says I think it is 100% cotton, actually. It is Uniqlo's finest. No, I tell a lie. It is a cotton poly blend. Well, boo earns. Not that I'm really so invested in this as a garment that I would want to, like, dye it. That would be fun. I've never really experimented with dyeing my own garments before, or my own fabric. I did once develop the hobby of researching a bunch of, like, materials for dyeing garments and bought a bunch of stuff and then didn't ever actually get around to using any of it because I got intimidated and the hyperfixation passed by the time I received all the materials I needed. Yeah, see also my collection of fragrance oils that I never made into soaps last year. I have a video about soap on my YouTube channel, by the way. That's the only soap that I've made. I was like, I'm so excited about this. I'm going to make so much soap. And then I didn't. But I've got a whole bunch. I've got, like, what am I going to do with all these things? I don't know. At some point, I'm going to have to make soap. But so it goes. Anyways, I was working on the script for my next YouTube video today. I think the script is near completion. Thank goodness, because it shouldn't have taken me this long. Unfortunately, I have to have a normal job, so things take me a lot longer than the average person with a YouTube channel. And when I say longer, I mean it's like months between uploads. I so very much wish it was less. I wish I was the kind of person who could just like put out low effort, easy content, but every time I try to do that, I end up falling down a research rabbit hole and being like, oh no, turns out this is really complicated and is going to take me a long time to write a script for. Ah! Not that I'm complaining, it's super fun to do. I love doing it. It's great. Anyways, so yeah, I'm painting in a whole bunch of teeny tiny gubbins. Now my thinking was, for this medieval manuscript of Ms. Shaw Silksong here, was I think the other like swirly bits here I'm gonna do in like this sort of very, very nice sort of straight ahead blue hue. It looks like this on the swatch. I think it's gorgeous, and I think it also works really well as a sort of medieval paint color. I don't know if you can hear, is the wind really obtrusive, just out of curiosity? I'm appreciating having a bit of a breeze coming in, but if it's super bothersome on the mic to anybody else, let me know and I'll close the window, at least a little bit. Yes, anywho. So I need to get the last colors on this, and then I need to look at doing some like line weight and stuff, and then we get to make the gold parts gold, which I'm very excited for. Because I think it's gonna be super pretty. At least I hope it's gonna be super pretty. And we do need to narrow down whether I'm using this gold or this gold, but I think, oh wait, no, sorry, this gold or this gold. I think I'm veering towards this bad boy, because I do think that it's gonna be the goldiest gold. I reckon. I hope. I hope it's gonna be the goldiest gold. And now that I've said it out loud, I don't know, but I hope it is. I guess we'll find out. Anyways. Okay, so, I'm gonna need my tittle tiniest brush for this, I think, and, how saturated do I want this blue to be? I'm just dotting some water into, like, a corner of this pan to wake it up. This is, once again, the 1940 set from Choosing Keeping Paint, in case anyone's curious. I'm not sponsored. I just think their paint is nice. They're a little stationery shop in London. It's very cute. The things they sell are very cute. A lot of it is very expensive. This paint set was not very expensive, thankfully. But they do have sets that are like £250, and I'm like, oh, what would I even do with that many shades of Gansai? I would simply, I don't know, fly off into the sun. So yeah. Anyways. Okay. I think I don't want the blue to be like mega dark, but I do want it to have a good amount of, you know, oomph to it. So do I have somewhere I can kind of swatch onto? Can I just swatch onto you, Mr. Piece of Paper? Okay, I'm gonna use this. That's it. Yeah, that'll do. That'll do quite nicely. Cool. Okay, wizard. I also now this wasn't planned in this way, but I do have a sketch. If somehow we finish this entire painting today, which we will not, I do have a sketch that I can work on, because I happened to do a sketch yesterday, for mostly just for me, really, because I was like, I wanna draw a blorbo. And so I did that, but the blorpos I drew, you're gonna be shocked and stunned based on my recent activity, are the two little boys from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. They're going fishing. It's very wholesome. I just think they're sweet. Anyways, I've also been thinking, you know how we have like the affirmation channel point redeem? I was thinking, and I know this is dangerous. I know that thinking is an extremely dangerous pastime, but I was thinking if I've kind of toyed with the idea of what if I had like our own affirmation deck. Like I just drew us some affirmations and used that. I think that would be super fun. But I also feel like doing enough little artworks to make an affirmation deck would take absolutely heckin' ages. So, is that something that I want to do? Is that something that people would be into? I think that would be fun. I don't think it would be anything that would be sort of like reproducible and like you could buy it or anything, because that feels like a very expensive thing to produce, and I don't think that many people would be interested. But I could just have a stack of little original paintings and do random draws of them, and we could look at them, and we could make them together. If people had affirmations they wanted to see, they could suggest affirmations. I think that might be fun. So that's something I'm considering doing at some point, but geez, I feel like that's the kind of ongoing project that would take so hecking long to finish. That it would be like, that I'd start it and then be done it like 2 years later, and, by that point, like, my art style has moved on, because, you know, like, I don't know about y'all, but in my experience anyway, I do feel like, and feel free to disagree with me, but I'm right, is that my art is not the same as it was like 2 years ago. When I look back at things that I was doing like a year or 2 years ago, I can be like, oh, that's good, but also, wow, I am doing different things, and I, you know, part of that is just, that's just being someone who fairly consistently produces artwork, is that, you're going to wind up in situations where, your art is just going to evolve over time. Whether or not you intend for it to, whether or not it's like a deliberate move on your part, it's probably not. It's just a case of, you know, the more you do, the more you spread your wings, the more you develop like skills and also like shorthands for things. It just kind of changes. Usually it's a manner of improvement. It's not always. But it changes. Hello, Gumby. Welcome in. How are you doing? It's wonderful to see you, and welcome. I'm adding the blue parts to the painting. This is truly terrifying. I would really like to do these justice. And I'm a little bit nervous. Because if these look bad, then oh no. You know? But yeah, I once years and years ago now, I once had someone make an anonymous comment on one of the websites where I was posting my artwork. I can't remember which one. But they were like, yeah, I wanted to go back and look at some of your older artwork to see, like, because I love seeing how artists, you know, sort of improve over time. And your art hasn't improved at all. Don't you want to get better? And I was like, friend, I don't think that's an appropriate question, you know? Like, what the nuts? I'm doing well, has got me on the last leg of my trip. Yay! I hope you've been having an amazing time. I hope you've been having a very, very good time. I hope that your travels continue to go well as you get into this last leg of it. I hope it is good. Okie dokie. But yeah, I thought that was
attention.
Twitch user hello.
Choppers.
Hello, Raiders. Welcome in, Sammy Ann. Hi. How is your stream? It's lovely to see you, and welcome on in. How are you doing? Welcome. Hello. What were you up to today? And welcome. Let me get a shout out for you in the chat if I can do that. And I can. Hello, friends. Welcome in. For anyone who's new here, allow me to introduce myself. My name's Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays. And Every once in a while, also on a Thursday, if I'm feeling extra crispy. I will be fairly soon, I think, but we shall see when that will be. But currently I'm working on this medieval sort of manuscript-inspired Silksong piece that I think is beginning to come together. And God, if this ends up being just an ugly mess at the end of it, I'm going to be so annoyed with myself, but here we are. All of the bits that are currently sort of yellow are going to be gold at the end, which I'm very excited for as well. But yes, hello, Sammy-Ann. Welcome in. How was your stream? It's wonderful to see you. It looks delightful so far. No, you look delightful. What were you up to today? If I bombarded you with too many questions and you need to, like, dip to just go, like, relax and whatever, that's also fine. And also, as you know, we are an art tax optional stream here, so if there is anything that you want to share with the class, you can whisper me a link, or we can just go creep on your socials if you prefer. It's entirely up to you. Or if you just wanna, you know, go take a nap, that's also allowed. This is our Hornet, looking exactly as she does in game, of course. And I'm having a great time painting her, so there you have it. Anyways, look at all those details. OMG, it is taking me. It's been 400 years. It's been 400 years. Take a nap, says Lugia. Oh boy, I would love to take a nap, but I can't because it's stream time for me. Anyways, I finished the Silksong inspired book bench bookmark I've been working on. Ooh, I think we saw the whip of this. It was gorgeous. I'll slip the image and the sibling image in the link. I'll send you for the art text. Yes, please. Yes, please. I would love to see it. She's going to raid her lair, aka the fridge. Oh, doesn't that sound lovely? Anywho, I just realized I don't have a share things doodad up. So let me just quickly pull up my Insta. I'm sorry you have to look at my Insta for a minute. But in case anyone's wondering what my artwork looks like when it's done, I can share that as well. I will be raiding the fridge, says Sammy. This is very accurate. I is hungry. Oh, definitely make sure that you feed yourself. It is important for your cells and your body. Oh no, you can't see anything. Hold up. Hold up. Bear with. Bear with. Okay, there we go. Hopefully you can see. This is a painting I did a little while ago on stream of one of my architecturally favorite London tube stations, Park Royal. There's a couple little guys on their way out of the station having a nice time. Yeah. This was a really fun one to paint. There was a lot of interesting color theory involved. And very weird methods of trying to figure out which colors are what, because our brains betray us and sometimes it's hard to tell. Anyways, but yeah, that's the kind of nonsense that we get up to on here. There's also this was a doodle that I did literally, as you can tell, in like a lined notebook while I was in a meeting. And I liked it so much I wanted to make one sticker just for myself, and the printer sent me like 10 of them, so I put it in my shop anyways. But yeah, that's the kind of nonsense that we get up to on here. My moderator / spouse has just come home, so I'm going to quickly go say hello to him. I'll be back in just a second. So hold your horses. But to the raider, if you do have any links, feel free to bung them in my direction. I'd love to share. Hello, darling. How you doing? I missed you. Did you have a nice day, Nash? Okay. Wow, your hair looks really cute. It's doing some fancy things. What's this? Very pretty. Okay. Be careful, you're holding everything. Hello. The greeting is very important. I am melting. So cute. So Sammy-Ann. Ah, beans. My moderator / spouse, beautiful human being that he is, brought me home a bottle of my very favorite iced lemon tea. And I'm so grateful right now because it's really sweet of him. I love him very much. Anyways. But, yes. Hello. We have... Oh, wizard. We have art tags. Sweet. Let me pop this into a window so you can have a look at it. Let's have a look at what Sammy Ann was up to together. If I can get it to load. Oh. Load. Thank you. Oh! Oh, this is so stinking cute. I love it. Okay, y'all are gonna love this. Sammy Ann says, I am to pass on the absolutely earnest appreciation for the medieval face on Hornet. My home Hornet fan said to let you know. Thank you so much. Please tell them I said thank you. That's really kind. But this is what Sammy Ann's been working on, and oh my goodness, this is absolutely gorgeous. This is absolutely gorgeous. Hello, sweetheart. It's absolutely gorgeous. Mm-hmm. Just like my moderator / spouse. Anyways. Yes. That is so nice. It's really, you've captured the, like, atmosphere and vibe and aesthetic so well, but I love the way that you've, like, shaded, especially the bits in the foreground. I think that looks so nice. And actually, also the bits even in the background also. And she's reading her little book that is so stinking cute. And look, there's a sibling. How sweet is that? I love it so much. I wonder what they're reading about. I hope it's something very exciting. I hope they give it a 10 out of 10 review and that it's super engrossing and exciting and fun. They look like they're very engrossed in this book. They look like they're having a good time being immersed in whatever adventures or information lies within those pages. I just, oh, this is so cute. I love them so much. I want to wallpaper my house with these. They're gorgeous. Thank you again so much, Sammy Ann, for sharing those with us. Let me get another shout out for you in the chat. Once again, if you're not following Sammy Ann and you like what you see, you should go give her a follow. You could do that right over there. And thank you so very much again for the raid. I do appreciate it. Alright, I'm going to attempt to continue on with the painting of this thing. And I'm going to try and remember what it was that I wanted to talk to y'all about today, because I'm sure I had things that I thought, I want to mention this to the class, and I completely forgot what they are. So, good job, me. Besides, we were talking about, how even when it's not necessarily, and oftentimes I think it's not necessarily like a super deliberate choice, it just kind of evolves over time, the way that like your art style tends not to remain static for years and years, but you know, kind of develops and changes, and you learn new things, you develop shorthands for other things, your interests change. You know, like for instance, for years as an artist, I absolutely hated the idea of doing backgrounds. Absolutely hated doing backgrounds. I wanted to draw characters in a white void. And I still do that from time to time, but generally I don't want to do that anymore. I like backgrounds. I spend oftentimes more time on the backgrounds than I do on the characters. At some point I just kind of did a 180 on that. I don't know why. It's just, you know, our interests change. Our styles change. All that jazz. I don't think I'm going to become like a full-on medievalist artistically, but it's really fun to be experimenting in this, with a different style. But still kind of within the confines of my own style, as it were, if that makes sense. Having a great time. Anyways, thank you as always for the lovely landing spots, Sammy, and thank you very much for the lovely company and for trusting me with your wonderful community as well. It means a lot. And thank you. I'm going to get the lunch and sit and enjoy the illuminating illustration. Thank you so much once again for the raid, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely lunch. I'm going to take a sip of one of my teas because, oh man, I've been talking a lot. Oh no, and I just dropped my phone. Great. Pretzels, where did you go? Where did you go? Hold up there with... Okay, got it. We're in... Anyways. But yeah, Sophie Canna, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. I hope you are having the loveliest of lovely Mondays, and it is wonderful to see you. Hello, hello. Okay, moving on. Going to attempt to continue my painting as best as I can. Oh, is my brush too wet? I don't know. I'm gonna go sideways for a bit here. Just for safety, if that makes sense. Hope that works a little better. Okay. Alright, anyways. What was I saying? Come on, words. Oh yeah, speaking of styles changing, I was reminded earlier today of, I don't want to disparage any other YouTube channels, as someone who has two of them, one of which gets like two to three uploads a year, and the other one just hosts all of my VODs. But with that being said, I watched a video earlier today that was about a YouTube channel that I did used to watch like years and years ago, and we stopped watching because the channel got really popular, and it really felt like the guy who ran it started to believe in his own hype a little bit too hard. And I think there's a real danger when it comes to starting to believe in your own hype too hard. That sort of... Thank you, ice cream truck. That sort of, the effects of sort of unchecked... What shall I say? The effects of like unchecked ego, and also the pursuit of just like more and bigger and popularity as opposed to just doing what you're passionate about. You know what I mean? There is confidence, and then there is non-genuine confidence, says Sammy. This is the thing. I think a lot of the time people who are like someone who has just like genuine confidence, like a high level of genuine confidence, doesn't need to prove anything to you. You know what I mean? And there's a difference between that and like ego. That's just I'm very good at that thing. Okay, not like I need everyone to know that I'm the very best and super popular and good. I have 15,000 million followers. Look at me. Validate me, give me monies, which is the annoying kind. Anyways, but yeah, I always find it really sad seeing people kind of go down the route of starting out with, doing like genuinely informative pieces, like, oh hey, here is a doable method for making this type of bread at home. And then eventually it evolves from that to like, I'm going to give 1,000 people $1,000 to lock themselves in a fridge for 3 months and try and come up with a 4-course meal in so doing. It's like, ew. Ew. Wait, count them again, says Cranky. I can't. Mimicry says when success becomes your passion, and Cranky says you become Mr. Beast. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is kind of a case of like the Mr. Beastification of this like cooking channel. And it's just like, well, that's just like I stopped watching that channel a really long time ago because like it just got annoying. Because it was less about, like, I'm going to show you how to make, like, a stir-fry, and became more like, what's up, everybody? I'm going to be, like, loud and annoying and do stupid stuff. But also clearly believing in my own hype, like, way too much. And it's just, I can't get on with that kind of, like, stuff. And if you do, like, that's fine. But it begs the question for me of, like, is this what you always wanted to do in secret, and the other stuff was just your sort of entry point into being able to do all of this, like, Mr. Beastie type nonsense? Or have you become more interested in, like, number go up than you were in, like, the kinds of actually interesting content that you might have been producing previously? I don't know. I do remember, I think one of the turning points for me with that channel was they were doing, and now listen, I am not a Starbucks fan personally. I will... It is really only under duress that I will go to Starbucks at this point because, you know, like, listen, I am a union baby. From long ago, and so I'm not a big fan of companies that union bust. But to give Starbucks their due, this guy didn't. In as much as he was like, I'm gonna show you how to make your favorite stupid Starbucks drink at home, but improve upon it, and in so doing he had to go like buy like a pumpkin spiced latte or whatever, but then let the pumpkin spiced latte sit and basically come down to room temperature for like an hour and a half before he actually like tasted it. Which meant that it's not going to be as delicious if you don't have the hot drink when it's hot, bro. Like, you know, I mean, I think pumpkins, I'm not a fan of pumpkin spiced lattes to begin with, but like, you're not giving it a fair shake if you're just driving around with it for like an hour, bringing it home to your studio, setting up the camera and lights and stuff, and then trying it, and then being like, wasn't this supposed to have whipped cream on it? Well, it did, but it melted because it was in a cup of hot liquid with the lid on. So it melted into the drink, you ding dong. Aren't you supposed to be a chef? What is wrong with you? Anyways, that just bothered me so much. Sammy, thank you very much for the lurk. I hope you have a lovely, lovely lurk. But yeah, really, really bothersome. But that was like small potatoes. It turns out that this guy's also like a jerk and horrible to his employees. Because I guess when you have a channel that big, you have like a whole camera crew and stuff, I guess. Even though I feel like a lot of large channels that probably have a whole like, you know, production staff, because it's a YouTube channel and not like, I don't know, like a traditional TV show, they kind of often maintain the illusion of it like it's just me in my studio, which feels a little bit disingenuous as well. I don't love when they do that. But anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm gonna catch up with chat is what I'm gonna do. Oh no. Hello, love. Yes. Yes, anyways. And you support single-tailed mermaids, of course. Of course I do. Anyways, but yes, let me catch up with chat, which I feel like I've lost. I felt that way with a couple art channels on YouTube, but they kind of come back on their own. Oh, that's good. But yeah, sometimes it kind of things can get away from you, especially when you're like, when you feel like you have to serve the algorithm rather than just doing what you want. But then some people, what their goal is with a YouTube channel is get successful and make money, as opposed to do something I'm genuinely passionate about. And honestly, I just find that depressing. I don't want to watch someone whose business of YouTube is I'm just creating content for the sake of creating content that you'll watch so I get money. I want to watch someone share something that they actually care about. Otherwise, like, why should I care? Anyways, you know, that's why I like channels where they get really nerdy about stuff like coffee, because I'm like, you can't just be doing this for the views, or you would not be doing this, right? Or like, here's my review of episode 7 of Star Trek Prodigy. You know? You're not doing that for the views. Cranky says, not gonna lie personally, I just want to die relatively comfortably and with minimal stress. That sounds so nice. That sounds so nice. I would love minimal stress. It's tricky how hard a simple life is, says Cranky. Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. Have a cold pizza. Oh man, you know what? Cold pizza's alright. Cold pizza's alright. At least add edible sparkles. You know, I don't hate a little bit of edible glitter, but not expensive edible glitter. I don't know. Like, I've seen things like, oh, it's soft serve ice cream, but it's got gold leaf on it. And I'm like, all you're getting for that is, like, gold poop. You're just gonna have expensive poop. It's not adding anything to the flavor, but a little edible sparkle is fine. Also, I think a lot of the edible sparkle is actually just made out of seaweed, so I'm fine with that. Anyways, so his biggest crime was drinking a hot drink cold, says Dan. No. No, he's also just apparently a terrible person. Anyways, Mimicry says some people run out of content and start chasing or creating drama. That's so depressing. But then again, I'm also like, ugh, I'm like allergic to drama. I'm like, no, please don't involve me in like your interpersonal stuff. Please don't. No, no. Controversy is icky. Drama is icky. I don't want it. It's too stressful. I would like everyone to get along and be happy. Anyways. Bambi, hello, welcome in. Bambi says, Horde looks so good, thank you. She says, Sha! Anyways, don't go chasing waterfalls, as famously said by Francis Bacon. Thank you. Tim Curry and Jive Turkey, I should sleep, says Cranky. Are you good? Are you good? Slap that content off with a prehensile set of eyes. What is happening on stream? What's happening, chat? I don't know anymore. Bambi says, when I eventually move into that house we're trying to buy, I hope that it goes very well for you. It's been a months-long saga of silence. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope that changes very soon. I was thinking of starting to stream just to have connections. Do it. But also to hold myself responsible for, like, I said I was going to do a thing, and people might be sad if I don't do it. Bambi, that is exactly why I started my art stream. To hold myself publicly accountable for actually, like, completing things. For actually, like, holding myself publicly accountable. Because there was a period of time in my life where I just kind of stopped doing art, and I was really struggling to do art. And it turns out if I'm not regularly, like, drawing and painting, I get really depressed. So I was super sad about it, but I couldn't force myself to do it. The executive function just was not happening. But, if I had the impetus of an audience of persons, even if there's just like one person who's lurking and not chatting, but there's the possibility that there are people expecting me to do this and holding me accountable, then I have to do it. And if I had not started doing that, I would not be producing all of this artwork today. I would probably just be taking a sadness nap and being much less happy in my life. So, and I wouldn't have met all of you beautiful people either. So I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy that I hang out with y'all and get to do art. I have a bunch of crafts that I just never make time for, says Bambi. Do it. Do it. I definitely, even if it's not streaming, even if it's just like finding, because I know people who have like Discord channels as well where they do like craft alongs and will work on activities together and share their progress and that kind of thing. Also super duper helpful. But also streaming is super fun. But also streaming is hard work. But also streaming is super fun. So yeah. Anyways, am I selling it? You do it. The stream is such a good motivator to do things, says Cranky. It really is. It really is. It's very, sometimes I'm sure you know, I've had streams before where I'm just like, I couldn't decide what to paint today, so here's just a stupid, we're just gonna do like a random ass landscape because, and sometimes it'd be like that. Sometimes my brain is not braining and my inspiration is not inspirationing, and I still have to do something. And I feel like that honestly really is helpful, actually, to have to do something. Yes. What was I saying? I'm saying this having skipped today though, says Cranky. Sometimes that's okay too. I have had to miss stream today, like on previous occasions, just because I'm just like, I cannot do the thing today. Sometimes you can't, and that's also okay. And sometimes it's better to recognize within yourself that like today is not the day for doing the thing and just give yourself that grace, and not do it, than to try and force yourself to do it and have a miserable time and everyone else has a miserable time seeing you have a miserable time. I've streamed before when I probably should have taken the day off. It probably shows in terms of, you know, the output. You gotta take a personal day sometimes, says Bambi. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I can tell when it's like, I'm having a super off day and I need to not be live on the internet. It's thankfully fairly rare, but there was one a couple weeks ago, I think, where I was just like, I was literally sitting at this desk, fully set up, entirely ready to go live, and I was like, I can't. And I didn't. And I canceled stream 5 minutes after stream was scheduled to start. And then sitting by myself, I did the sketch for this painting, and then we painted it. And then we started painting it the next stream, and it was entirely the right decision. Because I just had not had anything ready up until that point. I was exhausted and not feeling very well, and I was just like that. Sometimes it be like that, and that's okay. Anyways. But I'm having a nice time doing this today, so that's a good, I hope. I hope you're enjoying seeing me paint things blue. Okie dokie. I've done the blue bits. Yay! Anyways. Tals, hello, welcome in. It's lovely to see you. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic, and splendid Monday. Hello, hello. Turns out I forgot to take a week off since January, says Bambi. Wow. Oof, ouch. Was very surprised when they said I have ADHD. Why was I surprised when they said I have ADHD? I pushed for the test and yet shocked Pikachu face. You know, I would say mood, but to be honest, no. Fully unsurprised in my case. Honestly, if nothing else, like, peer review. Like, at some point, people would just be like, yeah, oh man, that's so very ADHD of you, and you're like, oh my god. Yes, it is. Thank you for noticing. But much appreciate people being like, wow, that's very ADHD of you, or like very, very neurodivergent mood of you, rather than just being like, wow, you're doing that thing wrong. How come you can't do this normal thing everybody else can achieve with relative ease? You're just not trying hard enough. And then you have a breakdown. Yay! Giving myself some grace as a middle-aged person to rest and fail. It's fine. Anyways. My last break before Skong was Christmas, says Cranky. 6-day weeks, totally functional, everything fine and good. Oh, Cranky, why? Why? No! Give yourself some rest, damn it. Yeah, that happens, says Bambi. I was happily working in an office, and someone was like, oh, hey, you've got ADHD like me. Like, exactly the same kind of thing has happened to me. Like, I was like, a couple months ago, I was talking to someone, about, I mean, you know, sort of like peripherally relatedly, they were telling me about a friend of theirs, who's autistic, and they're like, well, you're autistic, right? And I'm just like, I don't think I've ever told that to you, but yes. I mean, I do 4-day weeks, says Bambi. I actually I don't know how to quantify the number of days in a week that I spend doing stuff. 'Cause I don't know. I don't actually know. It's probably too many. Because I do 4 days of, like, a day job that I wish I didn't have to do because I'm burnt out and over it. And would like to focus on doing this more seriously, but I can't because not enough people like me. But I do, so that's 4 days, and then on top of that, I do, I don't know, probably about, what would it be, like 8 hours of streams, I guess, 5, 6, 7, yeah, about 8 hours of live streams, in a week, and then the other stuff that I do besides, which varies, so, yeah, I guess over 5 days, I'm working, oops, anyways. Hustle culture is a poop, says Cranky. Is maximum poopage. Absolute maximum poopage. I take Wednesdays off maybe so because I just can't. Thankfully, my beloved makes considerably more money than I do and doesn't resent my minimum wage job. And that is exactly, you know, the thing is, like, that's exactly as it should be. You know, in like there's more to a partnership than you're making like the same amount of money. You know, that's not a dictate of like the value that you bring to a partnership. You know, your value, regardless of what level of breadwinner you are in a relationship, is the love and the support in that way. So, good. Anyways, I'm gonna sip on my beverage. Sip it. Cranky says, I work abroad, so I'm paid under minimum wage with exchange rate advantage. Cool. I wish us all a comfortable living and a happy time. Very much I do. Oh, Bambi says I have savings. Hell yeah! For the first time since before my terrible marriage. Oh no. I'm so sorry to hear that. But I'm glad that things have improved, that chapter of your life has moved on, and that you are doing well now. Hell yeah. Love that for you. Someone asked what color next a while ago. We are just about done with colors. I think I'm going to do the S in Shaw here as in blue, I think, because I think that would stand out real cool. And then I guess the lettering I'm just going to do in, like, let's pretend I did it in, like, calligraphy ink, so it'll just be in sort of, like, light black, I guess. And then we need to do, I guess I should color in Hornet's needle as well, and then it's just kind of, like, line weight and Hornet's face and limbs and stuff. So anyways. Craw! says Cranky. Close enough. Shaw! Says Bambi. Correct. Anyways. Going to very carefully attempt to paint in this letter. And I want this to be a really nice, quite bold iteration of this blue if I can, so that it stands out really well against the gold. Because the most of the blue sort of around the border I've done slightly as like a lighter blue. There's a bit of variations here and there because it's watercolor and it's going to do that. But I didn't want it to be like bright blue against this very bright red, because sometimes when like a very primary blue and a very primary red are like right next to each other value-wise, it kind of looks weird and it makes your eyes do a thing. Bruh! Says Sledge. Hello, my love. Hello. Hell yeah. Anyways. Excuse me. Okay. I need to focus in and paint this letter S, because I'm really scared that I'm going to ruin it, and I would really rather not do that, ideally. So if I get real quiet, it's because I am scared. I've gone sideways so that I can hopefully see a little bit better what I'm doing. And hopefully make this a real nice, handsome curve. Is it gonna be perfect? No, but you know, this is all hand drawn and hand painted by a little gremlin in a small studio surrounded by warhammers, just as they would have been back in the Middle Ages. So hopefully it'll be good. Oh no, I've got the ads are coming up in about 2 minutes. Just have to no. You know, sometimes I wish just Control Z no worries tells or 2-finger tap to undo. Sometimes I wish that was the case. The thing, I think the trade-off for being able to like Control Z as an artist, like if you're working in digital, is that it can be really easy, and I know that I've seen some artists do this, where they just kind of get stuck in a loop of like drawing and redrawing the same thing over and over and over again, and being really indecisive about it. And so to that end, I do somewhat appreciate that the medium that I'm working in does kind of force me to be a little bit more decisive at times. Sometimes it works out not so great. Most of the time it works out fine. Is this perfect? No. But is it fine? Digital has the issue of weirdness, says Cranky. I mean, I here's what I made earlier, says Bambi. Yeah, fix it in post. Sometimes, honestly, like, I don't think this is cheating. This is just using a tool that's available to me. Sometimes I do fix it in post. Sometimes I do. I've had situations where a little bit of paint goes not quite where I intended it to. And especially if it's a piece that I know isn't ever going to be, like, seen or sold or anything like that as an original, then, like, it's fine if I do a little touch up in Photoshop. If I accidentally got, like, a little black dot right there on Hornet's antler, I can just clone that out. I can just clone that out in Photoshop. Nobody needs to know, you know? But I think in this case, that's not really going to work. So never mind, ignore me. Anyways, your hands don't match how things be. What's wrong with my hands? What's wrong with them? Oh no, what did they do? I'm confused. We're going into ads. I'll be right back, everyone. Please enjoy the BRB screen in the meantime. You ain't gonna miss anything. The art is all aligned. No! No! Anyways, it's ad time. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. Ah! What's up, nerds? I'm back. Hi. Thank you for sticking around. It's wonderful to be back. Say goodbye to the BRB music and stuff, I guess. Are we in focus? Are we in focus? It's hard for me to tell whether or not we're in focus. I hope we are. Anyways, this is the painting, such as it is. And now I gotta figure out what I want to do next with it. Which, I think I'm gonna look at doing some bits of Hornet, I guess. So let me clean out my brush. And for the bits of Hornet, all I need is this bad boy. Which is like, well, technically it's neutral tint, but it works as black. When there's enough of it, so that'll do. And I'll do the lettering and Hornet's limbs and needle sword doodad. Anyways, for those of you who have been enjoying the Silksong, I feel like despite being like famously a Hollow Knight enjoyer, I'm so not very far into Silksong at this point. I think I've played a cumulative like 5 to 6 hours of it on stream, and I'm doing it very slowly. So I feel like inevitably I am going to get spoiled by seeing, you know, artworks and stuff that other people are doing. And at this point, I feel like once it's been out for a few weeks, that's kind of inevitable. I would still ask that people don't post like major spoilers in chat, like when I'm streaming Silksong for things that we haven't gotten to in the stream, because if we haven't gotten to them in the stream, there's a very good chance that I haven't seen them, or like I might have. But also, you know when someone's just like, oh, you missed, you finish up in like a particular room in a game like this, and then someone in chat's like, oh, you missed something in that room, but I don't want to spoil you, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. And it's like, well, you spoiled the fact that there's something in there that I missed. And now I know that I missed something that's going to bother me if I don't find it, but you're refusing to tell me what it is because I've asked you not to spoil. So, like, that is a spoilie. That is a spoilie. So, you know, don't you do that either. I've had people do that in streams where I've been playing a game and they're like, oh, you missed a bit, and I'm like, but they're like, but I don't want to spoiler you, so you have to experience it yourself. And I'm like, well, I'm experiencing the incomplete version then, because I'm not going to go back for it, because you just ruined it. I'm trying so hard to avoid spoilies, says Tals. Yeah, me too. Like, I want to watch other people's playthroughs as well. I really want to watch other people's playthroughs. But I also can only watch other people's playthroughs up to a certain point, at which point I have to stop because I haven't gotten past that yet, and also because it's a Metroidvania, there will be, you know, sort of, especially as you go further along, there will be points at which your path diverges, and, you know, maybe you go, you know, one person decides to go into, like, this area over here, but you decided to go to this area over here, and so they've completed a thing that you've also completed, and then they go off and do something else, but they haven't done that other bit that you've already seen. So it's really hard. Like, it's really hard at that point to kind of keep up with other people's content of it without getting spoiled. Mimicry says Silksong is straight up punishing you. Basically run around with 3 HP and everything you touch hurts you. That's pretty much where I am now, and I feel like I'm getting into areas of the game where the difficulty is starting to ramp up a bit as well, and I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna be rough. Especially also because this is, you know, like, I've played Hollow Knight many a time at this point. But Silksong, this is Baby's first run, and it is not the same game. You know, some of the mechanics are very similar, but a lot of the mechanics are also different. Your character's abilities are different. The things you can do and purchase and upgrade and not upgrade are different. Yay! You know, there are certain things that I consider to be sort of like somewhat of a quality of life upgrade in terms of, you know, my risk averse and very bad at not getting hit self. I appreciate the way that I don't want to spoil too much for anyone who has not played it, but I like the way that heals work in this game so far. But apart from that, oh boy, I'm sure looking forward to dying a lot on Friday. It's a struggle, says Tal's. Yeah, absolutely. It super is. Okay, I'm going to attempt to paint in Hornet's little leggy. Wish me luck. I'm so scared. I am absolutely terrified. Also, my paint's a little too thick. So hopefully I didn't just pick up too much water and it goes goosh everywhere I don't want it to. Please just stay in the places where I want it to be. For someone whose legs are effectively just sticks, I'm having to be very deliberate here. Ta-da! She has one stick. Sammy, I need it. This is Kirsty. Hello, Kirsty. Welcome in. How are you doing? Hello, Jarvis. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. I hope you are well. It's lovely to see you and welcome. Anywho. But yeah, I'm gonna take a sip of my tea before I do the second leg because, once again, if you want to know what I look like right now while painting in all of these sort of like fiddly bits, just imagine a small, chubby dog wearing one of those like yellow safety vests with nervous embroidered on it in big black letters. That's me. I unironically want to make myself a jacket that just has that, like, nervous on it. I feel like that would probably attract the wrong kind of attention in the grand scheme of things, but, you know. Jarvis says, thank you, quick work break, this looks stellar. Oh, thank you so much, Jarvis, I really appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you have a lovely break. Okie dokie. Another leggy. Another terrifying moment for the artist. Oh no. Okay, we have leggies. I think they look okay. I hope they look okay. This is so her legs are sticks. Her legs are sticks, y'all, and I am so utterly afraid of making a dog's breakfast out of them. Okay, I'm gonna get some nice pale grayness onto the needle sword thing now. Which I did by just cleaning my brush effectively. There we go, that'll do. That was easy. Talis has provided some legs in chat. Beautiful. I love them. Love to see it. Those are indeed also sticks. Very nice. But, yes. Anywho. Okay. I am not ready to do, like, the line art for Hornet's face. That's probably going to be the last thing we do because it terrifies me. I'm so scared. I'm so scared of getting that beautiful face wrong that I'm kind of leaving it to the end of the consequence because I do not want to screw it up. But I will do Hornet's fun little arms here. I can. That would be super rad. There we go. That's one Hornet arm. Yay! Q2 has requested a hydrate. Thank you very much. I will take a sip of my rapidly emboldening apple cinnamon tea. Mmm. Ah. Tastes like freshly squeezed Shaw. No, it doesn't. That sounds horrifying. Okay, now Hornet, how does your hand work? Probably in the same way that most hands work. I don't know. It's hard to tell from the animation whether or not she has, like, opposable thumbs. But, anyways, she's got a little mitt wrapped around the hilt of her needle, and that's the important thing. Does it look bad? Oh, it's fine. I couldn't really figure out what my pencils were doing there, so I just had to... Sammy squeezed Silksong into a mug. Tastes like difficulty. Yeah. It always surprises me in Skong when we see the arms, and I don't know why, since tells... I guess just because they're hidden so... They're usually under her poncho. I've obviously kind of cheated it out a little bit and actually had put a little sort of armhole in her poncho here so you can see her going sort of like because I thought that would be fun. But normally they ain't quite so much. But again, you know, this work is deeply stylized, but in a different way to the manner in which the real Silksong is stylized. Okay, now I have to draw... I've drawn the S, now I have to draw the Ha. And I am absolute doggy doo-doo at this kind of lettering. Normally, obviously, they would have just written this with, like, a quill pen or whatever it is they were using at the time. But, do I have such things? No. And if I did, do I have the calligraphy skills to make such things look, you know, legible? No. So I just drew the shapes of the letters, and now we're just going to paint them in with, you know, normal paint. But yeah. If you haven't seen it, before Silksong was released, they released a sprite sheet of all of Hornet's sprites from the game, which, oh, little boy, were so much fun. Provided, like, a goodly amount of art fodder for me personally as well, which I really enjoyed. Such as one of the art prints that's currently available in my shop as a limited edition Blue Raspberry Fight Milk Hollow Knight / Silksong art print. All proceeds from the shop right now go to my stupidly expensive dental bills. Because I have to fix my tooth. And it turns out that costs a lot of money I wasn't expecting to have to spend. So that's where I'm at right now. But also you get cool art for it. So, like, of all the ways, if you did want to support, that's the one that gets you cool ass art that I send to your house. So, feel free to tell your friends. Or don't. It's fine. No pressure. Okay. We're also kind of these, like that. Yeah, that looks badass. Okay, sweet. The only thing better than the umbrella sprite sheet was seeing it in motion, says Rex. Yes! It's so good. I also made it into an emote because I thought it was fun. There are a couple of sprites that I really enjoy seeing in the game. For instance, I think, honestly, one of my favorite is just if you fall on spikes, if you fall on spikes, you may see there's like one animation frame in there where Hornet kind of just sort of like goes upside down, just kind of like and it's, I don't know why, it's just the funniest thing to me. I love it so much. It does me a massive entertainment. And I absolutely adore it. It's like she's just kind of flopped over, like, well, this may as well happen. And it's I find it very funny. I kind of, okay, so one of the differences between Silksong and Hollow Knight, for anyone who hasn't played the games, or for anyone who has and just hasn't really thought about it, or for anyone who has thought about it, what do you agree? I think it's really interesting having a character who is voiced versus having a character who does not have a voice, because the main character of Hollow Knight, like the character that you play, oh, thank you, babe. The main character of Hollow Knight that you play as, where is it? Okay. Has, in Hollow Knight, they don't have a voice, like, they don't have voice lines or anything, whereas in Silksong, she talks. And she talks to people, and she makes noises when you, and shut up, me. She makes noises, when you, like, run or jump or get hit by things. And, when she dies, it's like, ah! And I just feel it makes me feel even worse every time she dies, because she makes this pained cry, and I'm like, oh, I did that because I wasn't good enough. It makes me feel so sad. The Hornet death scream makes me think of Chucky from Rugrats. Okay, well, Rex, I can't unhear that now. Also, hi, Rex. That is incredible and so funny. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. There we go. A nice tidy little Shaw! Almost. We're not quite there. Because obviously the most important aspect of Shaw is that it should be delivered, I think, personally, with an exclamation point. Otherwise it's just Shaw. And it's not Shaw, it's Shaw! A significant distinction. There we go. Shaw! Does it look, I hope it doesn't look stupid. I feel like the exclamation point got a little bit compressed there. I probably could have moved the W a little bit further this way and given it a little bit more space, but I didn't, and it's too late to fix it. So here we are. But listen, this was handwritten by a medieval monk who had a vision of this weird little bug creature with a big sword. So honestly, I'm fine with it. Anyways, Shaw, says Stels. Exactly. Shawl. Does that just say shawl? Great. Great. Okay. Love that. Okay, I'm gonna make a puddle of a slightly lighter gray. It's not quite super pale gray, but it's a little bit lighter than black. Because I need to do, whilst I'm here, I'm gonna do the sort of line weight and stuff for the pale flower, and this little guy in the corner. There's a little guy in the corner. Instead of poncho, it's a shawl. Oh my god, was she saying shawl this entire time? She was trying to tell us that she's wearing a shawl, not a poncho? I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed, y'all. Oh no. Heavens to Betsy. Okay. What was it? Oh yeah, I wanted to look up a photo of a tick-tick. Not a photo. Not TikTok, ew. I have never used TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account. I've seen TikTok videos, but I have not used it per se. Okay, I've paled out this gray as best as I can, and I'm gonna kind of go sideways again, I think, so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. 'Cause this little guy needs a little bit of shading. Maybe slightly more shading than that, because that is completely invisible. Hooray! There we go, that'll do. It's gonna be pretty abstract down here, but that's fine. That's fine. We're not too worried about that. Then darken this down a smidgen for the little undertummy. Actually, should the undertummy be a little bit blue? I feel like maybe the undertummy should be just a little bit bluish. So I'll bring that in for that. There we go. Okay. I have colored in the tick. Focus. Focus. I said focus, sir. Hello? Focus on my fingy. Hello? There we go. Okay. Focus. Yeah, no, it does not want to stay in focus on the tick. The tick is too small to stay in focus. Damn it. Well, I tried. Oh, whatever. Okay, I need to look up Hollow Knight. I need to look up the flower. What does the flower actually look like? The delicate flower. Because I don't remember, obviously. My visual memory is garbo. No, I don't need to see I don't need the map to show me how to deliver the delicate flower. I've done it multiple times. I just need to actually look at what the flower... Okay, so the center is like pretty much just white, and then the petals have some gray detailing on them. So I will attempt to synthesize that if I can. Oh, scary. So scary. Anyways, oh, I wanted to let you know, chat, this is really important. I wanted to let you know that my dinner tonight is baby's first attempt at making homemade hamburger helper, which is as exciting as that sounds. And hopefully it sounds very exciting to you. I'm excited. I am incredibly excited. And part of the reason I'm so incredibly excited is that I have never had the, like, traditional hamburger helper at all. Like the stuff that comes out of a box. I've never had it. So this is entirely new to me. And I have basically no idea. I mean, I have a vague idea of what to expect because I know that it's like, I know the ingredients, but I've never eaten it before. And for some reason, I was like, you know, I'm gonna try making it at home because I want to know what it's like. You can't buy it here. But you can buy corn mince, pasta, cheese, tomatoes, and whatever else goes into it. So I was like, yeah, what the hey, I'll make it. So I'm making it. So like proper beef pasta, but veggie beef. It is indeed veggie beef. But yeah, like ground, you know, like ground corn mince, I guess. Pasta, GF in my case. But you know, same mechanism. A bit of tomato, cheese, some stock apparently, some milk apparently. I think that's it. And we're adding peas because there's no vegetables here besides like a bit of tomato, and that doesn't feel sufficiently like an entire meal to me. Sometimes I crave like a beige meal and just can't be bothered to like cook vegetables to go with it, but most of the time what I crave is vegetables. I crave vegetables a lot. And so if I can shoehorn vegetables in a meal that didn't actually have them, I'm gonna do that, damn it. 'Cause I like vegetables. Vegetables make me feel good. Okay, giving that a little blot down. Alright, I have painted in my delicate flowers. I think what I need to do now is some line weight, because right now all of the swirly gubbins I feel like looks a little bit incomplete. Like it looks like the edges between that and like the bordery color feels really feels like it looks incomplete. So I'm gonna start lining some of this stuff and giving it a little bit more definition. For the like yellowy gold stuff, I feel like the yellow isn't going to get any darker than this. So to do a line weight for that, I was looking at some example manuscript pages, and they had actually outlined a lot of the like gold sections in sort of like a red or like an orangey red. So I think I'm just going to use this orange that I have here to like give some line weight to the sections that will eventually be gold. And I think that's probably going to be the best way to do it for that. And then the blue ones obviously will just be blue, the green ones green, and the white or gray ones gray or black, depending. I don't necessarily want to use like dark black, because I don't want to, I feel like that's potentially going to stand out too much. And sort of make those bits stand out more than I kind of want them to. Hamburger helper was a staple when my mom was cooking for 5, says Rex. And since I've gotten my own house, I can say that I've made it all of 0 times. That is entirely fair. I think if you're, I mean, it's one of those things that makes sense if you're cooking for a large family, because, like, it's, I would assume, like, a sort of reasonably agreeable meal for, you know, most, like, youngsters. And also, it's very, everything goes into a pan, and you have, like, a filling and tasty and reasonably nutritious meal at the end of it. And personally, there are, like, dishes and cuisines that I really wish that I could have more often that I just don't, because I am a firm believer in, if I'm just cooking for myself, or, like, myself and my partner, I do not want to make a butt ton of dishes. By which I mean, number one, I don't want to literally dirty a whole bunch of pots and pans that we then have to clean afterwards. But additionally, I just feel like it just doesn't feel economical in terms of, like, time and also the materials used for me to, like, you know, do like, here's like a salad that I made, and then additionally here's like some sauteed vegetables, and here's some boiled potatoes, and here's like some fish stew, and here's a bowl, like, you know, there are some cuisines that are very, like, you have, you know, like, your main and then a whole buttload of side dishes that are all prepared separately, and I love it, but I will not cook it at home because it takes so long. And there's so much cleanup, and I feel like, especially for the two of us, doing all of these little bits that we're having, like, I'm having, like, a serving of, like, a tablespoon of this thing, and a tablespoon of that thing, and a tablespoon of that thing. It's like, what, am I cooking 2 tablespoons worth of thing? That's actually really hard to do. We end up with leftovers, and we're not big leftover people, and there are some things that just don't work very well as leftovers. So, like, nah. It was cheap, proportioned, and very easy, says Rex. Brown meat, boil noodles, add flavor. Yeah, nice and easy. With the U.S. currently having a bit of a beef crisis. I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, there's always corn mints. There's always corn mints. That's one of the things that actually struck me about, like, I don't buy meat, like, ever, because I don't eat it. But whenever I've looked at, like, the relative cost of, like, the veggie alternative versus the meat that I would have bought if I was buying meat, I'm just like, okay, this actually would be making our meals significantly more expensive if we were eating meat, like, twice a week, or 3 times a week, or however many times a week. If we were eating meat with every dinner, yeah, that's more expensive than the food that we cook generally. You know? So, nah. Pass on that. Also, I've just never really been much of a meat enjoyer. So, it's quite easy for me to just not do it. Okay. Okay, I really hope this is going to look all right. I feel like this is going to take me about 9,000 hours, but here we are. Okay, I'm going to attempt to do these sort of lines first. Also, at least with the yellow bit, some of this is going to be covered up with gold paint anyway. But, but never mind. But yeah, so I'm having homemade hamburger helper, which I've never eaten before, and I have basically no idea what to expect. Yay! So am I pumped about that? I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have planned to cook it. But I'm also kind of going off script with the recipe very slightly right from the get-go. Because, the homemade recipe that I found called for tomato paste. I don't have tomato paste, but I do have a small amount of, just tomato sauce. So I'm just gonna use that. And I think it'll be fine. And to be honest, I think it'll add more flavor because it's got seasoning in it. And the base recipe doesn't really call for a lot in the way of seasoning. And you know what? I love seasoning. Seasoning makes me happy. I like a well-seasoned meal. With that being said, I also sometimes like things that are really bland. It upsets me to no end that I can't buy the good Cheerios here in the UK. They do not sell the good Cheerios, and by the good Cheerios, what I mean is like the yellow for North Americans, the yellow box Cheerios, the ones that are just oat, they're just toasted oat circles. You can't buy those here. They have the multigrain Cheerios, but those are sugar-coated, and I don't want sugar-coated Cheerio cereal. I want them to not be sweet. They're a little toasty, a little oaty, and just kind of crunchy. The flavor is just crunchy. It's nice. But apparently I'm alone in this, because you can't buy them here. There was a brief period where they did sell them, and then they went away again. And I was like, why? They're the best ones! What is wrong with you people? Anyways. Rex says it's not like the egg crisis, but years of rising demand and decreasing livestock herd sizes had beef outpacing other inflations by a lot. Ah, geez. I mostly don't eat red meat aside from an occasional burger. I'm just not a fan. So I really didn't notice until a bit ago. Yeah, that's fair. But also, I mean, from the way you're explaining it, it makes sense. I mean, from a general health perspective, I don't know. I don't want to wade into discourse territory about whether or not it's healthier to eat beef or not. I've known people who are who would find out that, I don't generally eat the meat foods, and will be like, oh, well, here's why my choice to eat meat is ethical and blah-de-blah-de-blah. It's actually healthier for it. And I'm like, I don't care. Friendo, I do not care what you eat. Eat what you want. You don't have to justify yourself to me. You also don't have to try and argue the way that you want to eat as being superior to the way that I want to eat. It's fine. It's fine. You really don't have to be defensive about wanting to have a beef meat. I don't care. Just do what you want. I do remember I had a work colleague years ago back in Canada who found out that I was a non-meaty. And this was her response. And I thought that this was so genuinely such a dick move, pardon my French. But I was like, oh yeah, no thanks, I'm veggie. I don't remember what it was in the context of, but she was just like, oh, you'll go back. And excuse me? And she was like, oh, you'll go back. And hello? Why, that's A, that's none of your beeswax, and B, why are you so confident about that? And C, taste is not universal. Your experience is not universal. It was Tell says exclamation mark language. Thank you. We're werewolves, not swearwolves. But also that was a D move. It just genuinely, what a horrible thing to say. Also, I didn't. So that was like 20 years ago. It's like, no, that's not an appropriate thing to say. What the heck? You know, she's like, at some point you're just gonna really crave bacon and you'll go back. I have not craved bacon. No, sorry. If there's one thing at this point that I miss, it's chicken nuggies. And the only reason, but not actual chicken nuggies, I miss vegetarian chicken nuggies. Because I can't find veggie chicken nuggies where the breadcrumbs are gluten-free. That's what I miss. And I will not go back to eating wheat because it gives me horrible, horrible health problems. Just a really long... Yeah, it's just a phase that lasts until I'm dead. It does seem quite pretentious, says Rex. I mean, it's just... I don't think that's an appropriate thing to say to someone. I really don't. You know... Like, what if I told her that I was, what if I told her that, like, what if I told her that I was bi, and she was like, oh, you'll get over it, you know? Like, hello? No. No, don't say and do. Inappropriate. Anyways. I mean, I feel like that's a whole other stratum of, like, don't you do it, but, you know. Regardless, like, if someone tells you that, like, hey, I don't eat beef, and your response is, at some point, you will eat beef again. Like, is that a threat? I'm sorry, is that a threat? You know? Have I seen the Winchester Bible? No, Dan, what the heck is that? What the heck is that? I don't know. Does Winchester in this case refer to the, like, place in England or the characters from that TV show that, I've never seen? Okay, Supernatural ran for 15 seasons and I can proudly say I'd never seen a single episode of it. Just did not interest me at all. But I felt really bad for the people I knew who liked that show when it ended, because it ended really badly. I heard descriptions of the end and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Honestly, that is worse than These Are the Voyages, and These Are the Voyages was pretty bad. It's a fancy hand-drawn Bible that you're subconsciously channeling in this. Oh, the place is on display in the Cathedral in Winchester. Oh, sweet! Oh, it's rad as heck. I would like to go look at it. You'll be shocked and stunned to know that I have in the past derived incredible enjoyment from going and looking at old medieval manuscripts and stuff of similar vein to this kind of gubbins. There we go. So it's starting to feel a little bit ever so slightly more put together. I was thinking of Winchester as the character from Maps. I'm so confused by all of these things, but yes, the beautiful manuscript sounds like a lovely thing to get to look at. And genuinely, if you've ever had the opportunity to go look at super shiny medieval, actual medieval artworks that have actual gold on them, it's just, the gold pops in person in a way that I cannot get across in looking at it on stream form, which I find really annoying because I want you to know how much the gold pops when there's gold on here. And it's probably just going to end up in a pile with all of my other completed artwork that I don't do anything with when it's done. It just kind of gets placed into storage. And then I post pictures and video of it online. And hope that even in the slightest amount it captures the beautiful luminescence of the materials that I'm working with. Drawn slash painted by hand between 1150 and 1175. I really hope it doesn't take me 25 years to complete this, but we'll see. Apparently I've seen it. It is very nice, almost one of a kind, says Dan. That sounds cool as heck. I would like to go look at it at some point. That would be neat. But yeah, hell yeah. Mood, says Rex. Yep. Absolute mood. Okay, I'm gonna have another sippy of a beverage. Like, I mean, genuinely, damn, this painting is taking me so long. I am glad that I kind of mentally abandoned the idea that I need to start and finish an art piece in the space of one stream. Because that, it turns out, was just not tenable for me. And I think I'm happier letting myself work on things that take longer. Sometimes I like doing, you know, sort of a nice quickie. A nice little piece that's just like that I know I'm going to be able to get done in the space of a 2.5 hour stream. But sometimes it is really nice to just kind of let myself do something a little bit more expansive and know that you guys will be cool with just following along with the process for however long it takes. Stopping in and seeing a portion of it get done. And not fret about whether or not we finish. I'm not holding myself to any deadlines for any of these pieces. Because I feel like on some level I have heard of it. I don't really go places and do things very often, because I'm a hermit who doesn't have a lot of money. But, I would love to at some point go have a look at it. There's a lot of places and things of historical interest that I would absolutely love to see and visit and experience that I just haven't been able to. Partially because everything costs money and also everything takes time. Both of which are at something of a premium for me. So being able to do those things is like, welp, I might not be able to do those things, and that's okay. Or it might be a while before I get around to doing all the things. Same, says Dan. It was over 10 years ago that I went. When I still left the house, yeah. Mood. I used to travel from Manchester to Cardiff once a month for a pub quiz night that I frequented. And was terrible at, but had a lovely time. Actually, no, saying that, we did win once. And that was good fun. It was the kind of questions that were not really my particular area of expertise generally. They were extremely nerdy, but for, I think, the wrong flavor of nerdy for me. Like, having to remember, like, dates and numbers and other weird stuff like that I'm not super good at, but, you know. If you were to ask me a qualitative question about any of those things, I would have been like, well, let me write you an essay. Anyways, I have a literature degree and some neurodivergence. Anywho, the cathedral is free, but I suspect the Bible exhibit needs a donation. Yeah. The number of things I've passed on because I've gone to them and it turns out that they're not free. Oh, jeez. Which is probably terrible, but also, I don't know, there's a lot of things that you can do for free. And also, I have been to a few cathedrals in various places around the country. I remember the one time, this was so stupid. I was invited by someone to go to, back when I was living in Manchester, I was invited by a friend of mine to a Christmas Carol sing-along in Manchester Cathedral. I'd never been in the cathedral, so I was like, okay, this is an excuse for me to actually get to see, like, the interior of this cathedral. And I do like a good bit of, like, fancy ecclesiastical architecture, and also acoustics. as a music venue, man, I love old churches. They're so good as music like secular music generally, because I'm not a religious person. And here's the thing, when he said a Christmas Carol sing-along, I was imagining, like, you know, walking in a winter wonderland, and less of the sort of Jesus, and it was entirely the Jesus, and I'm like, oh geez, I feel very out of place here as a person who is not in any way, shape, or form like a Jesus religious person. But hey, this is a fun experience. But the best bit about that night, the absolute best bit about that night was there was this extremely elderly gentleman sat directly behind me who most people were just sort of like singing along a little bit, as you do in a big group. This guy was singing his absolute heart out. Was he good? Not particularly. Was he loud? Oh boy howdy was he loud, and putting his heart and soul into every one of these songs, and had this very like deep booming voice, and it was so fun. I was like, this guy is here living his best life, and I love that for him. It was incredible. Was it a weird social outing? Yes. I don't know what happened to that friend. They moved away like a month later, and I never heard from them again. But they also were really bad at choosing outings that we would both enjoy. They were like, oh, let's go to this little town in the Peak District. And I'm like, that sounds fun. And they're like, let's go on a hike. It was January. There was mud everywhere, and there was no trail, and it was extremely windy, and I ended up on a hill, just like hugging a fence post because I was terrified that I was going to fall down the hill and die. That was the point at which I walked back to the village and got myself a sandwich. Anyways, right. Dan says, long for a pub quiz that gives you all a sheet of paper and 20 minutes to write an essay on a given topic. Man, I would love to do that. That sounds fun. Is my sense of fun weird? I don't know. Anyways, Dan says, I went through a phase climbing cathedrals, in brackets, via stairs and approved internal routes, not from the outside. See, yeah, I was imagining, like, you sort of, like, you know, climbing your way up the outside. I'm imagining you in, like an Assassin's Creed type outfit, getting to the very top, looking around at the beautiful view from up at the very tippy top, and then somehow managing to perfectly fall into a wheelbarrow filled with hay directly underneath that somehow manages to break your, like, 5,000 foot fall. So I'm glad you didn't do that, because that's probably not how it works in real life. Did Salisbury and Ely and also the old one in Delft, that all sounds super fun. And it's the kind of thing I would love to do if I didn't hate going upstairs. Because stairs are the worst. Listen, I'm 5 feet tall. I've got very little leggies. So stairs and I are not friends. There was a tower in a very famous tower in Copenhagen that I was hoping to visit, called the I'm not going to try and pronounce it because my Danish is bad, but in English it's just called the Round Tower, and most of the way up is actually via ramp, which is nice and accessible, but it's still a lot of steep incline going up this, like, spiral to get to the top. There's all kinds of, there's like interesting exhibits and stuff along the way. It's quite an interesting place. Architecturally, it's very cool. But we decided not to go up because A, that was a lot of like climbing we'd have to do in order to do it, and B, there was a massive queue by the time we got there, and we decided that it's only like €3 or €4 to get in, which is rad as heck. But I was just like, nah. You know what we ended up doing instead? We ended up getting hot dogs at the hot dog stand that was next to the tower, and let me tell you, that was a nice hot dog. I got a veggie dog with ketchup and crispy onions and pickles, and it was very good. But yes, I do, and it was organic as well. Do recommend the organic sausage / hot dog stand. next to the Round Tower in Copenhagen if you happen to be visiting and want to have a cheap lunch. Ooh, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa, says Dan. Oh man, it's so tall. Also, I just know my luck that if I climbed the Leaning Tower of Pisa, I would end up on like the side that's like leaning sort of closer to the ground, and somehow I would just be just enough added weight to like have it finally tip over. I feel like that would be just my luck. I don't know. That makes me a little nervous. That being said, there was somewhere in Canterbury, I think, there's this one building that is many, many centuries old, and its foundations have shifted such that, like, the building is still more or less upright, but the door is like this. You have to go through a door that's like this in order to get in. It's, I think the building is perfectly sound. I think when I was there, it was like a bookshop, but that was years and years ago, so I don't know what's going on there now. Yeah. I've heard someone describe this country as being crumbly, and I feel like crumbly is actually a pretty good descriptor for a lot of this country. 'Tis a crumbly place. That's so funny. Wow, the wind is just going crazy out there. I do apologize if it's bothersome. I genuinely don't know whether or not it is. I hope it isn't. I really hope it's not. Canterbury is great, but you can't climb the cathedral, says Dan. Boo! I didn't go in the cathedral because you have to pay to get in. I was like, nah. I'll just look outside then. Well, that sure is a cathedral exterior. And then I bought myself a really beautiful, super comfy wool jumper from a secondhand clothing shop that I walked into only because they were playing... I could hear that they were playing Vienna by Ultravox, and I'm like, oh man, I like that song. I'm gonna go check out this shop. And then I went and checked out the shop, and I found this really beautiful handmade wool jumper. And it was like probably under a tenner. And it served me for years. It was so cozy and comfy and thick and amazing. So, hell yeah. Anyways, you can go under it. There's some famous folk buried there. Creepy. That's so creepy, Dan. Oh my goodness. That's so creepy. Like Lord Nelson and Tommy Cooper. What an amazing... I love so much that is the pair of people. That's amazing. I love it. I'm just imagining the circumstances under which those two characters would meet. Do you think they'd get on? I just don't know. Anyways. I think the line weight is definitely making it feel more complete, so I'm glad that I'm doing this. I think the orange is actually quite effective, I think. I was worried that the orange was going to detract from, like, the yellowness of the gold sections, but actually I think it just helps to kind of give it a nice seam against the red, if that makes sense. There we go. I think it's I don't know, it's working for me. It's working for me. It's good. Okay, I'm adding a little bit more water to my little reservoir here. Just made a little reservoir of wet paint, like, in the corner of the pan, but that seems to, because I'm not blending or mixing these colors and I want a fairly thick concentration of them, I'm happy for it to just kind of hang out there, you know? Anyways. Yeah, it is surprisingly difficult sometimes to, like, do a tourism in the country that you live in. I mean, you've heard me, I'm sure, ranting about the fact that, like, and I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, the fact that the word staycation has come to mean, like, going on a holiday somewhere else in the country you live in, as opposed to taking a vacation and staying in your house, which is what it should mean. That's just, if say I'm going to, like, Winchester for 3 days to do a tourism, that's just going on holiday. And I think that's what most people, I think it's mostly a marketing thing. I think most people would just call that going on holiday. But I could be wrong. Anyways, oh geez, we're coming up to another BRB fairly shortly, but I shall continue in the meantime. Tal says, speaking of, I did a Google. Apparently, it's £14 to visit Winchester Cathedral. Oh, oof, ouch. Good heavens. I think the thing is, for me, there are so many places that you can go visit for free. Like, there are a very, like, a not unreasonable number of excellent museums within the city I live in, and I'm very blessed in that way. And they are free. And I love that for me. I was able to go on a little visit to one of them, as sort of like a bonus feature for patrons. Following on from my last YouTube video. And you can see a little bit of that in the video, so I'm going to pop a link to my channel here, again, in case you want to check it out. But yeah, they're all free, which is really nice. One of them has dinosaurs in it, which is rad. We like that one, because dinosaurs are cool. It also has a lot of cool rocks. Love a cool rocks museum. But also love a good, like, look at medieval paintings museum, which we also have. So, yeeth. Okay. Just gonna try and finish up the line weight on this one. Okay, I have one more gold section to do, and then that's it. So we're gonna go into a quick BRB, and then I will finish the bits that need to be outlined for the gold segment, and we'll figure out what else we can finish before the stream is done. In the meantime, I'll be right back, everyone. So you're not going to miss anything. Have a drink, have a stretch, enjoy the ads. I hope you don't get them, but if you do, I hope they're not terrible. BRB. Hi, friends, I'm back. Hello. Thank you for your patience. It's lovely to see you again. I have returned, and we're going to finish off the yellow bits and hopefully ram another color in here someplace. I don't think I have enough time to finish all of the blue bits, because that's going to take quite a while, but maybe I can do the green. I think I've got enough in me to do the greenery. Hey, babe. You good?
Yeah.
You look handsome. Anyways. Okay, we're gonna go upside down. Sorry, Hornet. We're gonna have to go upside down for a bit, to do this little segment here. And, you know, I find that doing this kind of bit is can be quite, I mean, it's nerve-wracking, but it can also be kind of meditative, because you're just kind of following the lines that you already made. And just zhuzhing them up a little bit, effectively. Which feels really good. Anyways, I'm very excited for my hamburger helper meal now. Oh goodness, I'm full of anticipation for what the heck it's going to be like, because I've never had it before. I mean, it's not going to taste like regular hamburger helper, because I'm making it myself from home, so, you know, it's got that going for it. But I've had pastas with tomato sauce and a little bit of cheese many times. I haven't really had pasta with, like, a cheesy sauce with a little bit of tomato before. So that'll be an interesting distinction, I guess. I suppose. Yeah, man. Alright, and one more, just Yay! Cool, okay. I've done, I think, all of the bits that needed to be, like, gold-y. So that's cool. I guess now I'll do all the bits that need to be green-y, because there's not too many of them, so hopefully it won't take super long to do. And hopefully it'll look nice when it's done. Okay. I've got my, I'm going to bring this in a little bit so you can see me just wetting and stirring and wetting and stirring. This little corner that I've made in my green paint. I don't know, do other, I looking at the way other artists use their little paint pans, do you just sort of like blah around the whole thing, or do you tend to sort of like start in one corner and work your way outwards? Because with these types of, especially with these sort of Japanese style ones that are kind of long like this, I tend to rather, because it's such a large pan, as opposed to, say, do I have any half pans here for size comparison purposes? Yeah, I've got a set of half pans here so you can see the difference. With these ones, I find it's a lot harder to just start in one corner and work your way across like that. Though I'm kind of doing it with these as well, but I'm kind of starting on one side and working my way inwards. But a lot of the time when I've got like half pans like this, I just kind of my brush all throughout it. Just because it's a much smaller space, especially if I'm using like a bigger brush like this guy, I kind of have to like be able to go like that. But because this is a much larger area, like this, you know, it makes more sense to kind of start in one corner and work your way out rather than just going meh. For me anyways. But again, that is something that can be so personal, and I don't know if anyone else does it like that or if I'm just an absolute weirdo. Don't answer that. Because let's be real, if the question is, am I an absolute weirdo, I do know the answer, and hearing other people confirm it will make me feel sad. Anyways, I've been putting off painting this sketch for so long. I sketched this like a month ago, and I still haven't painted it. Because I gave myself bookshelves, and that's a lot of work. I will probably end up doing that off stream. Because it's goofy. I don't know. I never know, like, trying to balance what I want to paint versus what I think people want to see. I try not to think too hard about, like, you know, what's going to be marketable to an audience when it comes to, that flavor of, like, my artistic output, because I will just, like, break my brain. Also, I am absolute poo-poo garbage at anticipating what other people will like and what other people will be interested in, what people will want to see more of when it comes to my creative output. Oftentimes I'm like, this is going to be popular, people are going to like this, and then crickets. And then other times I'm like, this is stupid and bad, and this is going to be not very well liked. And this, you know, I didn't put a lot of work into it, it's not very good, it's not very interesting, people aren't going to like this, and then it, like, does numbies, and I'm like, why is this doing numbies? It's not good. What is wrong with you people? In the nicest possible way. So, yeah. I am terrible at predicting these things. So, my general rule, therefore, is to just do what bringeth me joy and hope for the best. Has this been a good content strategy for me? No. Look at me. I'm a small potato with no money. I've been wanting to mess with gouache for a while, but I can't afford to buy new paints now. So, anyways, Tal says, I've never used such paints, so I can't comment on your approach to the pans. That's fair enough. I might have to just go look and see if I can find some videos from folks who've used these paints, or see if anyone I know, because I know that I know other art streamers who've used these paints or similar, but I guess I wasn't paying attention to their, like, brush distribution strategy when I was, you know, hanging out in their streams or watching their videos of them using similar materials. So I guess I'm just going to have to wait for someone to be using similar materials and try and pay better attention to how they use them when I do encounter others using them. It's such a stupid concern. I'm just really curious as to whether or not that's like a common strategy or if that's like a weird me thing, because I don't know, and I don't want to assume that my experience is universal in any way, shape, or form, because I know it ain't. And I'm very much not. As an artist, this may shock you. This may shock you to learn, chat, but I'm not. I haven't had a lot of like classical training as an artist. My academic vocation was very much in like written disciplines. I did a lot of linguistics, psycholinguistics, literary theory, and not really anything to do with drawing and painting. I know, which sounds wild. I know, like, look at me, the absolute epitome of a extremely professional artiste, and yet, I'm just making it up as I go along. Believe it or not, I think the highest level of formal training I've had as an artist was, depending on what you consider the height of formal training, is either like secondary school, and not even like the senior most classes available in secondary school, but like mid-secondary school, or I took a life drawing class just for funsies in like the community center behind a church as an adult. Anyways. But yes, I didn't... fine art or anything of that ilk is not at all what I went to university for. The university that I went to really didn't offer any, like, any of that sort of courses. Actually, they did, but I think they phased them out, like, the year I started. So, yeah. I kind of went in thinking, oh, maybe I'll be able to take, like, a course in, like, painting or something, and then no, that just disappeared. So I never did, and I was a little bit sad about that, but it was possibly for the best. I don't know. I've heard from people who have like a formal art education that it depends on the program and where you are and where you go, because some of them are really good and really useful, and some of them are kind of awful, which is terrible considering how expensive they are. I would want to, you know, have a good experience, but I think honestly at this point that's kind of the case with like a lot of educational institutions. I certainly, even when I was at university, which was a very long time ago now, but let's get into talking about our ages, because safety and, you know, privacy and all that jazz. There were certainly instances in my degree of, like, you could tell when the professor was, like, jazzed about teaching and specifically enjoyed teaching courses and, like, you know, interacting with students, and you could tell when the prof was like, I have to teach this course in order to get to do the things that I'm actually interested in, like research and publications. So I'm going to put in the bare minimum here to get through it so that I can work on the things that I actually want to be doing. And I think considering how much students pay to be there, it just does such a disservice. I wish there was a way that, like, the people who were passionate about teaching got to focus on that, and maybe if, you know, sort of they found the other aspects of the academic career, like publishing and conferences and all that kind of thing, stressful and not very fun, they could maybe let that take a back seat without harming their careers. And likewise, the people who were more interested in doing like research and publications and conferences and that kind of thing could focus more on that and not, be penalized for like not teaching as much or whatever. Because I think it does a disservice to students to have teachers who don't care about teaching, especially when you're paying through the nose to be there, which I sure did. I would like my teachers to give a shit. Pardon my French. That wasn't supposed to happen. I'm sorry. Oh no. I think I might be getting tired. I think we might be getting... We're not quite at the end, but I think we might be getting close to the end. Because I'm clearly a tired bear. Also, I'm trying to get all of the green back out of this brush, because I want to paint something that's not... Thank you for the exclamation mark language tells we are werewolves, not swearwolves. I'm so sorry. I was trying to think of an alternative word, but I couldn't get one to formulate in my head and my mouth before it was too late. And I was like, well, I have to finish this sentence somehow, so it's just going to be that one. But also, does one does want teachers that care, not ones that don't. Yeah, genuinely. It's, and you really could tell which teachers did not care. There was famously, not famously, but famously in my mind, there was a professor that I had who was who taught psycholinguistics, which I'd been really jazzed to take as a course because as a topic, I think it's really, really interesting. And it kind of dovetailed with a lot of the things that I was kind of interested in focusing on as aspects of my own research. And this guy... Okay, so contractually, we were supposed to have 2, I think, like, 90-minute lectures a week. This guy would just speed through his slides, not stopping at any point for, like, any further discussion or anything, really. He would get through the slides for the week in the space of about 20 minutes. Not give anyone enough time to actually take proper notes based on the slides, but be like, the slides are all going to be up on WebLearn, so you don't need to take notes. And I'm just like, well, why am I here then, Brian? I don't remember what his name is. Let's call him Brian. Why am I here then, Brian? Just to watch you rattle through this set of slides for a third of the amount of time the class is supposed to take, and then I'll let us leave early. Like... This is not benefiting me as a learner. And I think a lot of people were cool with that because that was just extra time in their day that they could spend, like, getting lunch or working on projects or whatever. But that was time when, for me anyways, in my experience and in my estimation, I was not having an opportunity to actively, like, think about and learn this material from someone who has expertise in the topic. I just had a set of bullet point slides that I could look at later. And I'm like, well, why do I even show up? If the entirety of the class can just be compressed into a set of PowerPoints that you're just going to, like, speed run, like, why are we even here? You're not adding anything to it. Like, you're not being engaging about it. You're not asking us questions about it. You're not, doing anything meaningful with this information. You're just running through it as fast as possible so that you personally can, and framing it like it's doing us a service because the lectures are shorter. And I'm like, that's doing us a disservice because you're not teaching. Do you not see that? And, like, 100%, it's because this guy wants to naff off and go do something else. And it's just like, why are you being paid to be here? Like, why? Because you're not. Here, I mean. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Like, just, I don't know. I don't know if this is still the case, but certainly when I was a university student, we would have, like, a little feedback form that we would submit for our courses at the end of the year. And you could anonymously rate basically how did your professor perform on various metrics. But I always found the questions that they asked about, sort of the course were lacking in a lot of like details that I wanted to add, and I don't think there was a free text at the end where you could just write in, you know, like, this professor did a really good job with this, that, and the other, but I felt like this was missing, or I felt like they weren't really providing enough information on blah for me to you know, be able to do it correctly or whatever. So like that was great that they had that opportunity to give feedback, but also the feedback mechanism was so like crappy that it really didn't capture the genuine experience a lot of the time. And I feel like I heard an experience recently, or I read an experience recently rather, from someone on Blue Sky saying that their child had just started university. They went to, so I feel like things might be getting worse, or might just be as bad but in new ways as we go through different, you know, obviously the technology around learning and learning institutions has evolved a lot since I was at university a million years ago. But this person on Blue Sky was lamenting that their child had this class. They were really looking forward to this class. You know, they've just started university, and specifically there was this one, like, you know, sort of activity or aspect of the course that they were really looking forward to, like, getting stuck into and actively doing, because it's the, you know, one of the things that they're really interested in. And the professor came in and was like, okay, normally we'd spend like 2 weeks on this topic, but honestly, just get an AI to do it for you. And just skimmed over it and just moved on. It was like, and they were so, like, the student was so gutted because the teacher has just, as far as I'm concerned, just abandoned their teaching duties to just like, you don't need to learn how to do this. You can just get ChatGPT to do it for you or whatever. And I'm like, and I think I said this I think like I responded to this on Blue Sky, and I was like, if you haven't done this, you know, like, the student should be telling this to, like, the HOD. You know, it's possible that there are, I hate to say, as someone who works in higher education, there are a lot of people in higher education that are very AI-pilled these days, and it's really alarming, especially considering the number of people who have gone sort of, like, wholeheartedly into, oh, you know, all of the things that we can outsource to, like, LLMs and whatever. In ways that oftentimes the people who are the most, like, enthusiastic adopters of these technologies are people who understand them the least. And so it is possible that this person might have gone to speak to the head of department and been like, this is what this professor is doing, instead of actually teaching us how to do it. They're just telling us to just, you know, get whatever to do it. And the head of department might be like, you know, well, that's how things are going, so you are going to need to learn to do that. Or they might be like, wow, this person is absolutely not actually doing their job of teaching you things if that's what they're telling you. Oh no. And words might need to be had about, like, you know, sort of how their lesson planning and stuff. I don't know how that shook out, unfortunately. Tal says, oh god, and yeah. I just find it so depressing. I find, like, being a person with a job right now, I find incredibly depressing. Again, because of just, I can't cite, for, like, privacy reasons, I can't cite examples relating to my own day job. But certainly I've seen examples of people being like, oh, maybe we can use this to do that. And I'm like, yeah. You're not even making your job easier, you're just making your job harder in a different direction, and also in a direction that is, like, unnecessarily wasteful with regard to, like, energy outputs compared to the way that you do it now, and it's also, again, not making your job any easier. And B, like, it is possible that if, you know, like, more important, like senior management people think that this is going to make things significantly more efficient, that you're basically just efficiencying yourself out of having a job. Is that what you want? Are you an enthusiastic adopter of not having an income? Because I'm not. Also, you know, what if... I'm just envisioning situations where they're just like, oh, we can outsource doing all of these things to, like, you know, AIs or whatever. They do it. lay off a bunch of people because they're like, well, we don't need a bunch of staffers doing all of this stuff if we can just have like a skeleton crew just running it through or whatever. And then it turns out that it's crappy and it's bad and it does a bad job, and there's potentially legal hassles depending on what your line of work is. And 6 months down the line, they're like, ah, shoot, we have to rehire a bunch of people. It's just, anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about that because it makes me depressed. So. Andy, thank you very much for the lurk, and thank you for the hydrate as well. This is apple cinnamon tea. It looks like a cavernous black hole on screen, but it is apple cinnamon tea. It is, I'd forgotten that I have this tea. And I was like, oh yeah, I have like a 300 gram bag of this. I'm gonna make one. And man, I'm glad I did, because it's super yummy. I feel like the weather has turned in this country. It's possible we'll get another like hot snap at some point, because that seems to be what happens is you get sort of like suddenly it goes from being summer to like autumn, and it's gone from summer to autumn. Like, again, I'm wearing waffle knit today in a color that supposedly is pink but is absolutely categorically not pink. It's beige at best. But you know, oftentimes you'll have like it'll have become autumn for a few weeks, and then there will be another week where it's just like, it's like 25 degrees out. I'm like, I have to unearth all of my summer linen again. Oh no. Anywho, I mean, my summer linen is the same as my winter linen, except my winter linen has a wool jumper on top of it. That's the difference. Anyways, I've ranted for a while. I'm sorry for ranting. I didn't anticipate that was going to happen, but do I ever? No. Okay, one other thing I'm going to do before we finish is I'm going to take a little bit of this red, and I'm just going to go around the edges of this text box with this red, because I saw an example of a painting that did something similar, and I liked the way that it looked. And I just also want to neaten up the like borders of the text box a little bit by just making it red, which makes sense because it's surrounded by red. Good rant, says Stalls. Oh, thank you. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go on a bit of a rant, and I don't know if people are like, okay. They kind of zone out, which, you know, is also fair. I appreciate that for a lot of people. Streams are background noise that you stick on while you do other things. And honestly, if I am the background noise that you have stuck on while you do other things, I am honored. That is super cool. And that is something that I'm very, very happy to be. Anyways. Okay. A line. Is it a wiggly wobbly line? Yes. That's fine, though. So it turns out that on Thursday, we're going to be continuing to work on this because we're not done it yet. But I think we're near enough to being done it that we will finish it then. Let's inventory what I have left to do of this. I have to do the line weight for the limited edition blue raspberry fight milk flowers. I have to do the line weight for the blue sort of like curly cues and things, the tick tick, the blossoms, and then pretty much all of Hornet, and then we're done. So, you know, getting there. Oh yeah, and then I have to paint all of the yellow bits. The bits that are currently yellow need to be painted in gold. Okay, no big. But that's the final step, so, you know. All right. Okay. All right and okay. Yeah, I feel like that looks good. I feel like that looks better than before. So, happy with that. We still ain't done, but I feel closer to done now, so that's good. I can't remember what all we did today. But I feel like we did a lot. Did we do a lot? I don't know. Had we done the blue parts before today, or did I paint the blue bits in today? I did paint the blue bits in today, didn't I? Did I? Yes, I think I did. I don't know. I think the blue parts are new for today. But my memory is a sieve, so who knows. Anyways, I'm gonna find someone for us to raid now, because I've done enough, and I think it's time to pass the art stream torch onto somebody else. There was definitely blue bits painted today, says oh.
Oh hell yeah. Hello Jarvis just subscribed.
Jarvis, thank you so very much for the sub. Thank you, thank you. Enjoy the emotes and stuff, and your sub is very, very, very much appreciated. Including the stupid new Shaw emotes that we have in chat, which I hope people are enjoying. I'm enjoying them. Anyways, don't worry about progress. The Winchester Bible took 25 years, remember? I know, but it also probably wasn't a single page. But still. Anyways. But you're right, Dan. I'm not, like, again, I'm not super concerned about, I used to try and, like, I wanted to complete things sort of in the space of, like, a stream, and I've kind of, I've given up on that, because, like, oh, who cares? But let's go say hi to somebody who's doing something cool. Because it's time for me to move on and go make some dinner. And I'm gonna see if this person is just about to finish, because it would be... I've had the experience before of going on to raid somebody, only to find out that they, like, just ended exactly as I raided, and oh no. That's always good. What? What? Why is there a hype train? What? I was about to end! What just happened? I don't understand. I'm so confused. But also, thank you for the hype train, apparently? Oops, says Jarvis. No, that's okay. But thank you. Well, I guess I'll hang out for a couple more minutes, because apparently there's a hype train. Thank you for that. But, yes, I just hit the emote, says Jarvis. I have no idea why that triggered a hype train, but thank you.
No.
Thank you very much for the TTS Nicole towels, and thank you for the biddy. Thank you, thank you. What a strange... Oh, okay, cool. We've got an affirmation to do. Sweet. So I will do... So whilst the hype train is choo-chooing from one station to the next, we shall have a little affirmation time. Thank you very much for that, Q2s. Let me shuffle my deck. Let me give my deck a little shuffling. And we'll see what we get. There are so many... I hope we don't get a repeat, because there are so many cards in it. Like, this is a thick deck. This is a thick boy of a deck. So hopefully we'll get something good. Ooh, I've got some hydrate as well from Q2s. I will have another sippy of my tea. Thank you. Alright, sweet. Let's get affirmed, everyone. Let's feel good about ourselves. Let's have some nice, positive, good feelings. If we can, I think that would be super cool. I'm trying to randomize, but as you can see, I'm super bad at shuffling a deck. So, we'll see. Let's see what we get. You're super cool, Q2s. You are! Anyways. Well, thank you so much for this. You deserve love, and your feelings are valid. This is something that I try to remind myself of on the regular, and you should know this about yourselves too. Both of these things. You deserve love. You super do. And your feelings are valid, and that is also very, very true. Even if, like, other people don't always understand why you feel the way you do, even if you don't understand why you're feeling the way you do, and sometimes I have feelings and I don't know where they've come from, they're just there. But, like, no matter what, your feelings are valid. Whatever you're feeling, that is a valid way for you to feel. And, you know, I hope that your feelings are good, but if your feelings are not so good, that's okay too. Those things will pass. We can acknowledge them, we can sit with them as needs be, and, you know, let them let them be when they need to. Anyways, but also you deserve love. You are a wonderful person. You are beautiful. You are loved, and your feelings are valid. So yeah, thank you for this affirmation. Hoo boy. This is as much for me as it is for anyone else. This is like therapy hours. But thank you. I have at some stages in my life felt very not valid about my feelings, but no, they are valid. They super are. It's, even if nobody else understands it, they are still valid. They are yours. And that's enough. Anyways, so thank you for the oh, what the hell did I just stop? I accidentally minimized the OBS window and it just went like this is great. I jump scared myself. Oh no. So silly. Anyways, yes. That was a nice little way to close out Strim, I think. And thank you again for... I genuinely don't know how we got a hype train or why we have a hype train, but I do appreciate the hype train. That's very cool. But now that is coming to a close, thank you for everyone who contributed to that. And we're going to see if we can do a little raid. And you know what? I'm going to raid. I'm going to say thank you again for the hype train. Very much appreciated. Level 1, 31%. Hell yeah. And where's the raid thing? Okay. I'm going to send us to what I know is a very safe place to land, because we've been there many times before, and she is absolutely delightful. So let's make our way in that direction to go say hi to the lovely Perrin. And I'm going to pop a generic raid message in the chat. I'm gonna use the silly Skong animation for this because we have been working on a Skong painting and it feels appropriate. So there's a generic raid message in the chat. Feel free to copy the raid message if you would like to. If you have the emotes, feel free to use the emotes. If you do not have the emotes, you can just say generic raid message or append any cool emotes that you do have. It's all good. Regardless, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. I will be back on Thursday doing, maybe finishing this painting. Whomst knows at this point. But thank you so much for hanging out. It's been really, really lovely. To the new folks who came in today, thank you and welcome. And to everyone else, thank you for continuing to turn up for these shenanigans for some reason. But for all of you, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again very, very soon. Have a good week in the meantime. Take care. Good night, and good luck.